G'day and welcome back to the Spirited Speaker series. I'm your much more clean-shaven host, Ed Stenning, Marketing Director at Beam Suntory. And today we again get to chat to Richard Shotton, the author of the best-selling book, The Choice Factory, where he looks at how behavioural science can be applied to marketing. Thanks again for joining us today, Richard. So, big question we have is price sensitivity during COVID crisis is a huge topic amongst retailers and marketers and the like. Now, everyone seems to have an opinion on this. But Richard, what is the behavioural science behind pricing and how can brands and retailers leverage this psychology?
The current crisis will have long-term economic implications. We don't know exactly what those are going to be, but we can be reasonably certain that consumers are going to become more price sensitive. When consumers are price sensitive, many retailers resort to price promotions. After all, these are great ways of stimulating demand. But the problem with price promotions is that if they are overly generous, they can destroy margins. So I think that many retailers should become more interested in a huge body of work that's been undertaken by psychologists into the psychology of price. Because there are many tactics that retailers can easily use which will maximise the impacts they get from promotions. So getting the maximum uplift in demand with the minimum discount offered. And I want to talk about two of those ideas. The first is the importance of storytelling. Advertisers for big brands talk about storytelling all the time. But many retailers are remarkably straightforward in their promotions. 2 for 1, 50% off. That's problematic because some psychologists argue that the cues around the promotion are as important as the discount itself. So one bit of evidence for this comes from 2005. Megan Boos, who is a psychologist at MIT, worked with some car retailers, and she persuaded them to alter the discounts they offered. So sometimes they offered 10% off, sometimes they offered 10% off the same discount as our staff get. Now, on just an economic point of view, those discounts are exactly the same, so they should have had the same uplift in sales. But that is not what happened. There were far bigger uplifts in sales when the discount was framed as 10% off, the same as our staff get. Boos argued that this is because for a consumer to work out how good value a car is quite a complex thing. So what people tend to do is look not just at the discount or the price, but also the promotion's plausibility. And in this instance, they work to a simple rule of thumb, which is, well, that car retailer might be happy ripping me off and the 10% might not be genuine. But what's far less likely is they would rip their staff off. Their staff have to come back day in, day out. So because of this story around the promotion, it gained greater believability and plausibility. So when you are offering your next set of price promotions, don't just offer a simple 10% off or 20% off. Now, you're giving away margin unnecessarily. Why not try a smaller discount, but one that has a story that explains why you're doing it? And why not start with framing that discount as the same price your employees would get? Now, of course, that has to be a genuine, honest claim. But I'm sure many retailers have employee discounts which they don't publicise or use in their promotions. Why not test to see if by badging your promotion as the same discount that your employees get, if it makes it more popular? So that's the first idea, a very simple, easy idea that you can replicate. The second idea is about scarcity. So there's a long-standing idea in psychology that we appreciate products more, we appreciate brands more, we appreciate things more if they are in short supply. This was captured wonderfully by the novelist G.K. Chesterton. He said, the way to love anything is to realise it might be lost. We appreciate things more if they're in short supply, either in time or volume. And again, this is a very simple tactic that retailers could employ. And some of the evidence for this goes back to 1998 and some work done by the controversial psychologist Brian Wansink. So Wansink worked with 3 supermarkets in Iowa, and in each of those supermarkets he reduced the price of soup from 89 cents to 79 cents. The first set of supermarkets did nothing else. They just left the promotion as a simple discount. And when they did that, on average, purchasers bought 3.3 cans of soup. But the next thing he did was in that second supermarket was put a little story around the promotion. Again, it was down from 89 cents to 79 cents. But this time there was a sign on the soup saying maximum 4 cans per customer. And in that scenario, the average purchasing went up from 3.3 to 3.5 cans. There was no greater discount given away, but this time, by limiting the amount consumers could buy, the soup became more desirable. Now, what I think happened was people have no idea if a small discount on many products is good value or not. But when they're told that they can't have as much as they want, what they probably think is, well, this must be hurting the supermarket, it must be such a good deal, they don't want to give me as much as I want, and therefore it becomes more appealing. So why not consider, with the next promotion you run, limiting the amount of items that a consumer can buy? And if you do that, it might also be worth considering the third variation on the promotion that Wansink ran. In that final supermarket, he ran a promotion with the same discount, so down from 89 cents to 79 cents. But this time he said, maximum any one customer can buy is 12 cans of soup. And in that scenario, that was the most successful version. People bought on average 7 cans of soup. Now what's happening here is not only is the scarcity making the soup appealing, but by throwing out that really large number of 12 cans of soup, I mean, who needs 12 cans of soup? It's a ridiculously large number of cans. But what you do is you set an anchor or a benchmark in the customer's mind about how much is a reasonable amount to buy. Now they don't end up taking home 12 cans, but they take that number as the starting place for their deliberations about how many to take home. They adjust downwards, but they don't adjust very far. So they end up buying more soup in that condition. So again, why not test that? Not just limiting the amount of items a consumer can take in your next promotion, but putting that limit at a very high number to stimulate them to taking home just that little bit more. So those are 2 simple ideas that you can apply from tomorrow onwards. Firstly, giving a story to your discount. Why not use that idea of 10% off the same as our employees get? And secondly, the idea of scarcity. Limit the number of items for a particular brand that your consumer can take home, and Wansink's experiment will suggest that will make that product more desirable and people will end up buying more.
I love this topic, Richard. Thank you so much for sharing, as we're all looking for a much stronger return back to travel retail without, of course, eroding margins or our brands. Now, folks out there, if you've got experience here, or if you've got an opinion or what's worked for you in the past, please feel free to reach out. We'd love to find great ways of helping retailers to manage price sensitivity in a post-COVID world. Now, next week, we get to welcome back Richard for his third and final part about the awesome topic of social proof, and how in a post-COVID world, travel retail can leverage this to drive passengers into stores. I can't wait. So thanks again for joining us on the Spirited Speaker series, and until then, cheers.